I'm happy to sit here and talk to Professor Allison Cumming-McCann, who is the chair of the counseling department here at Springfield College and who teaches a variety of counseling courses to our graduate students. Allison has done some really cool stuff with her class, and I'd just like to have her talk a little bit about it.
Thanks. So I teach counseling diverse populations, and I was really nervous to move virtually because so much of what we do in our classroom depends upon the dynamics and energy in the room and being present and pushing students. And so as I thought about moving to a new format, I really looked at different ways that would be effective. I also observed my child who's taking online classes and watching how hesitant she was to share. I had to really think what I could do. Now, when I'm in a face-to-face classroom, if I ask a question and students don't volunteer, I quickly put them in dyads. Turn to your partner, and it really gets students to practice what they're saying. Like, so can I think about it? I'm going to queue up. I wasn't doing that because I couldn't figure out. So my first online class, the regular students spoke up, but more than anything, people just kind of sat there frozen, like it was just a head. So last night in class, well, first, I realized that everybody has life going on. So I had everybody just like calm down, take a breath. I kind of brought them in, and I'm not a big like meditation person, but let's let go of everything. Think about the things that you read for class. Think about some of the things that connect in the world to what we're talking about in class, and just be present. Try to keep my face to face because we're on Zoom to about an hour. So we've got an hour together. Let's make the best of it. Come up with some questions based on their online discussions. And when I asked kind of a global question, they all looked at me, and I'd set up 10 breakout rooms. So I immediately said, all right, you're going to be partnered up with someone randomly and go. So off they went into the breakout rooms. The breakout rooms were set for 2 minutes, gave them time to queue up. It's amazing. I didn't pop in this time, but sometimes I do. Then they came back to the classroom and everybody wanted to talk. We had everybody, muted so that people weren't talking over each other, but it created a really amazing and engaging opportunity. So I have 25 students in that class. I can see all of them, and I don't think there was one person that didn't engage and share. And then as conversations came up that were maybe between two people in the class rather than collective conversations, I'd open up a breakout room, they'd jump in there, have a conversation, come back and kind of summarize the work they did. So that's how I used it. I was very excited last night. Great engagement.
And I think that what's great about that is it's the technology a lot of people are using, and it's technology that a lot of people have talked about trying to use, but it fits so well with your class. And the students responded to it so well. I think that's the really important piece. It's a lot like in class where you'll sometimes give people a minute to write down their thoughts and then talk about it. It's just a way to take a break from what's happening, take time to think, engage, and then come back. It's a terrific use of the technology, and great for the counseling students to understand not just the whole group dynamic, but to then have that one-on-one sort of conversation. So I think that's just terrific.
So I have done breakout groups. I didn't get to do them last night because there was such amazing conversation, and I hated to stop in a week waiting to get this going. But last week I used breakout groups. It's so fun to pop in. I found if I leave my camera on, they want to talk to me. If I turn my camera off, they don't notice me. They know I'm there. And so I've kind of used my camera as like I'm here and I'm silent, or I'm here and I'm going to kind of cue you and get you going. That's been really exciting. And it's allowed me to kind of take the pedagogy I use face-to-face into the classroom. I would say the other thing I'm doing is being much more intentional about what I place on Brightspace. So always a reflection about things that came up in class, things I was thinking of, something I might do face-to-face. So whether it be like a video clip or a write-up, and here's some links you might look at that will extend our conversation. And then also before class, as you're getting ready for class in the next 2 days, here are the things I want you to think about.
And that's also a nice use of the technology to sort of prime them in ways that you could normally do in a face-to-face class, but do it in a way using the learning management system and still give the students the full experience of the counseling opportunities. And because you're talking about counseling diverse populations, these are difficult conversations for students to have anyway. By putting them in a position where they're prepared with some really targeted information in Brightspace, and then they have the opportunity to talk privately. And I love the idea of popping in and just listening and popping out, because it's the kind of thing we do in class. You walk around, you just kind of listen. So I think that's just terrific. I think it's a great use of the technology and a great way for our students to still continue to get what they would be getting in class in a very different format. So thanks.
Actually, I'm excited. I think I'm going to be a better teacher face-to-face because of this. I think I will use Brightspace in much different ways and much more effectively because of this. So
Yeah, and I think that that's going to be the upshot for a lot of people is they're going to recognize the value of using that pre-class activity to prep for what's going to happen in face-to-face. I think for many of us, the idea of going remote forever is terrifying and not something that we signed up for. But there are some things coming out of this, like you said, that I think are going to help us be even better when we get our students back, because we will be better prepared for understanding what the work looks like when they're not in front of us. So
Yep.
I think that's a great upshot of all this in this crazy time we have right now. So
Absolutely. Yeah, we're making it work. It's not my dream to teach this way. I will say, and I'm making it work. But I think the piece I thought I'd miss, which is the relational, which is so critical for my teaching, there's no question that's still there. I thought about maybe reorganizing my summer schedule or taking away some of these experiential classes and focusing on content when we were online. It's been my experiences in the classroom in the last few weeks that have reminded me we can't do that, right? Students need relational experiential learning. And just because we're using different technology, it doesn't mean we can't do it.
I mean, I can't think of a more important point for the value added for students when they engage with faculty members to have that relational piece, not just in counseling skills, but in teaching in general. If
Yeah.
you don't give a damn about the students and get to know how to interact with them in ways that are beyond just dumping content, then the educational experience isn't the same for the students. They don't own the information. And I have this conversation with former students all the time. They may not remember a lot from the history of psychology, which breaks my heart, but they remember the process of the conversations we had where we took something that looked like this and then we dug under and we really thought about the implications of this kind of thing. And those are the skills that they take away. And you don't get that if it's just content dump. You get that from the relational aspect. It's the reason why, like, I want to be back in the classroom in front of my students, talking to them and engaging with them. But I'm going to continue to talk to them and engage with them in this medium to continue that relationship in any way I can. It's a really important point, and one that I think all of our faculty continue to hear.